Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of SMY Podcasts. I am Mano, your host, and today we have something special to share. A interesting topic to talk about. Well, every time it's an interesting topic, yes. Yeah, you'll just find out more about it just in a few seconds. Well, today the title of the podcast episode is Ways to Use Technology to Get Students Excited About Learning. Well, many students are not fancying the idea of learning. Yes, many students don't like it, don't like writing, don't like studying for long hours. Well, they're kids. You can't blame them. Well, in this episode, we're gonna go through on how we can actually get them excited on to learn new stuff, to learn learning materials. Well, all right. Well, this online platform has been a huge success. For more than 10 to 15 years, it has grown rapidly. All right, it's grown rapidly, and I don't see a reason why we cannot make use of it for our benefit, you see. And well, there are many things that online internet or the online facilities can be used. Okay, all right, let's just say gaming, learning, podcasting, yes, a lot of stuff, video conferencing, a lot of activities can be done. So today is mainly only on students, all right, small kids, students, like students that are entering year 1, year 2, year 3. Yeah, the students that might be a little bit stubborn to start learning. Well, let's get right into it, shall we? So the first thing students can do is to listen to a podcast. Yes, podcast. When I mean podcast, not only SMY Podcasts, there are so many podcasts out there to absorb information, all right? Students can use podcasts to absorb information, you see. Well, books are not the only thing that we should rely on, all right? It can be sometimes boring, reading school textbooks, all right? And it just takes too much time, all right? Well, teachers, all right, teachers can assign students to start their own podcasts, all right? Well, this can be part of a creative project to somehow demonstrate their creativity and their knowledge using these simple skills, all right? I remember starting SMY Podcast. It was basically my own inspiration. I wanted to share some thoughts, share ideas and opinions to people, right? Because opinions vary and opinions really matter, right? So that's my reason of starting a podcast, right? I mean, you can actually develop some skill set, editing videos, hosting your podcast on Spotify and Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, all those platforms. You see, you can get all this knowledge by learning. So the next thing, right, number 2, to get students excited about learning is game-based learning. I mean, I've talked about this in episode 22, am I not mistaken? It's episode 22. I talked about video games, all right? Yeah, I talked about video games and how it affects students, all right, in a negative way. So, and a positive way, all right? Well, that episode really talks about about this point in a more brief. Not more brief, in a more informative way. Well, I'll leave the links down below in the comments. Well, getting right to the points. Well, this method gives the student a break from reading books and doing assignments. Well, as I said in the previous episode, it's also boring, all right, just studying, reading books all the time. It has to be engaging, fun and engaging for the student, all right? At the same time, it also stimulates creativity and problem-solving skills. All right. This all depends on the games that you're playing. Make sure you're not playing the negative games. All right. Make sure to play the positive and learning games. Well, number 3. Well, there are more, but for this episode, I plan to keep it short. All right. Well, number 3 is polling. I don't know how you call it. All right. Polling. Well, polling is a very creative way to overcome low engaging students in class. Well, I mean, everyone has this friend who actually don't turns up to class, anytime, or sometimes class happens early morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Some students, right, the lazy ones, all right, might be sleeping in front of their laptops, right, or the devices. So, well, polling is, I think it's a very engaging technique. All right. Well, I think Google Meet has that. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think Google Meet has that. Well, polling helps to tailor the lesson that needs to be taught using the information or the polls, or you could say the conventional way, the votes. All right. Well, teachers can actually see what the students want to learn and what they need to be taught. Right, so the lessons can be planned accordingly. Well, it also can be used to take down attendance, which is very easy, right, through online, and creating an easy digital record to refer to later. And for more complex interactions, such as checking, understanding, or exit tickets. All right. Well, these are some of the points. Well, actually, there are more. There are actually more benefits. Well, I tried to keep this video short. I didn't want to make this episode long. Well, many others there. You can also use social media. All right, social media. Teachers can also invite students to ask questions throughout the day on Twitter using a specific hashtag. All right, and you can also use video conferencing, robotics, and yeah, that's about it. All right. Well, if you really enjoyed this episode, if it was fun and engaging to you guys, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be just starting a TikTok account soon. Right, make sure to stream us on Spotify, stream us on Apple Podcasts, stream us on Google Podcasts, or anywhere you can find us. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.